Welcome to Fun is Fundamental. Fun is Fundamental is a podcast for those who realize that the enjoyment of life is about having something deep in our souls which lights our fire. It's for those who maybe have lost that fire and feel like they are missing out on the pleasures of life. In each episode, I will share recent fun activities and focus on why having fun is essential for good health. I'm your host, Alenia, and I invite you to take this journey with me and join the pleasure-seeking movement. Hi, welcome to Fun is Fundamental. Today we have another guest. Actually, before I introduce the guest, if I'm sounding a little bit funny, because I feel like I have a little bit of a lisp, I'm less than a week into having Invisalign, and so I'm still getting used to it, and hopefully I will learn how to talk normally again with it in my mouth, or else I will just have to record without it. I don't know, but I'm trying to get used to it, so if I sound a little funny right now, that's why. The episode was before I had it, but there might be other episodes where I will also be sounding funny. All right. Anyway, I guess while I'm talking about that, also in this episode, we did have some tech issues during the conversation because it was over Zoom. And so there's a little bit of content that's a little bit hard to understand. And there were some things that had to be cut out. I'm pretty sure things are pretty much intact, much as possible. And there's definitely some good nuggets in it to take away. So I still wanted to release it, even though it's not perfect. As I do. Today's guest is James Clemmons. He is one of the co-founders of Freedom from Anger LLC. And along with his partner, Jonathan, they have over 20 years of experience as anger and stress management professionals. In our conversation, we talk about the importance of unplugging and also curating what media you do choose to allow into your life, and how this helps you to manage your anger and stress in our everyday lives. I hope you enjoy the conversation. Hi, how are you doing, James?
I'm doing good.
Welcome. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Yeah. And tell me something. Tell me about what you do.
I own a business called Freedom from Anger LLC. We specialize in anger and stress management, education. We've been active about 2 years, but me and my associate, we've been in the field for probably at least 20 years. We just decided to branch off and try to get out there and have as many people as possible using the internet, and we've been able to get in contact with people from Hawaii to Ireland to Canada, Philadelphia, kind of branching out. So that's what we do.
That's great. We're very lucky to live in a time where we can connect with people all over the world through the internet.
Oh, definitely. And we started it up when the pandemic hit, and we kind of saw that everything was kind of going virtual. Mm-hmm. So we're like, hey, we're pretty good at what we do. So let's try to branch out there and try to reach as many people as possible.
I imagine that since you started, you have a lot of experience, but you started this business through the pandemic. I imagine that you maybe have seen maybe a little difference in how people have managed their stress and anger through the pandemic.
Yeah, it's unfortunately, with everything going on, everybody's pretty much kind of amped up, to say the least. You got the pandemic, inflation, gas prices. So I think at this point in time as a nation, we definitely need to practice some self-care and try our best to manage our frustrations, because you just turn on the news and you see people acting a fool.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
What are some things that you talk to your clients about when it comes to self-care to manage their feelings?
Yeah, and we really tell people, the whole term anger management gets kind of a bad rap. Everybody has kind of preconceived notion of what anger management is. Count backwards from 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's not anger management. That might be a technique that might work for some. We really try to focus on behavioral thinking, and we really try to get people to challenge their beliefs and their thought patterns to try to get a positive outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And we try to, and a lot of times we'll ask somebody just a simple question, or are you happy? And if you're not happy, how can you become happy? So, like I said, we don't try to make it as complicated as a lot of people do, but we try to get down to the root. But it all kind of stems from our thinking patterns. So we really try to hammer that home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Our thoughts really there. It kind of is everything when it comes to our happiness. Definitely.
Yeah, so I use quotes all the time. Probably one of my favorite ones is from Dr. Wayne Dyer. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of goes right along in with Dr. Albert Ellis, which is REBT, which we're both huge fans of. And it all comes down to our thoughts, our choices. So definitely use a lot of those quotes.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think is like the biggest thing that someone can do? Like it can be like it's a small thing, but it can make the biggest difference in how someone's thoughts, they can start to change their thought patterns.
I think probably the hardest thing that we really run into when we're doing our classes is being open to challenge the things that you were taught.
Mm-hmm.
Being open to challenge, okay, well, my mom told me this, my dad told me this, my granddad told me this, but to really question those things and go, okay, well, just because they said it, it might not be accurate in the current state of things and in your life.
Mm-hmm.
But to actually question those things is really, really, really tough for a lot of our clients, because if mom said it, it's gospel.
Yeah.
I can't question it. But unfortunately, in my line of work, my day-to-day job, I see a lot of incarcerated people that have that mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is what I was taught. This is what I'm supposed to do. I can't challenge it. I can't question it,
Yeah.
even though they're getting all these negative outcomes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I recently read this book, Think Again, and it's like, he talks about how you shouldn't identify with like your beliefs, but like, because it's like different to have your values can remain the same, but it doesn't mean that your belief, like that you have to identify with like the things that you believe, like that kind of thing. I didn't explain that very well. But because your values and like all the things that you're taught, they're not necessarily, like, things can shift and you can still have the same values, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and often we get confused with our morals and our values. Two totally different things. The foundation of your being, and then your values kind of stack on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
But our values is going to shift usually use are constantly changing.
Mm-hmm.
I know, my values when I was 25 is different from now.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely value different things.
So I know that you had talked about how unplugging from devices, social media, like things like that, really has a lot of impact on stress, anger, things like that. What are some like ways that you help people to be able to do that?
Yeah, it is definitely difficult for a lot of people. We're all consumed with screens, um, but the way we try to talk to our clients is like, are you welcoming drama, into your household? Are you welcoming drama, into your mind space? Like, for instance, just me personally, I very seldom watch the news because to me, it is a negative force. I don't need to wake up in the morning and know that, three teenage kids got, unfortunately, that's a common thing that we see in our major cities. That's not going to get my day off, nicely, because it's definitely a senseless thing.
Mm-hmm.
But just try to find ways. Okay, well, hey, if I can set my phone down when I'm eating dinner. Um, I think even I read an article about Bill Gates. He says his kids did not have a cell phone until they were 14.
Oh.
And when they did, if they're having dinner or family time, they put the phones away.
Mm-hmm.
So, that could be, but I think if we just kind of unplug, even if it's just for an hour, just put your phone away where you can't hear it. Because a lot of the studies going on now is it's not a DSM-5 yet, but I do think technology addiction is probably going to, because they're seeing that phone ding, it's setting off, the same parts of the brain that's, somebody's a drug addict.
Mm-hmm.
The euphoria and the adrenaline, the cortisol, all those things are being sparked by that because we become reliant on those things.
Yeah.
There's actually in the international disease classification, there is a gaming addiction, but
Oh,
the DSM-5, which we use in the U.S., we don't have that yet.
okay.
But there's all kinds of studies out there that's showing like, hey, this is a deal. This is a real deal, and the studies have gone back for. We have not pulled the trigger on becoming more reliant on technology, and this is becoming an issue. So hopefully they'll see that we definitely need to kind of get away from that, but we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I used to live in Korea, and the gaming was like ridiculous. Yeah, and I remember hearing of somewhat like this guy just like playing himself to death basically, and you're just like, oh my god, like that. I mean, that definitely is an addiction if you just are like, I can't get up from playing, and then you die. That's so sad. So yeah, it seems like it should be seen as an addiction for sure.
I think eventually it'll get there. It's just kind of taking a little while to. I guess the DSM-6 maybe it might be in there, but it's definitely. I was reading an article the other day, and it was like 2009. They were talking about technology addiction.
Oh,
Well, we've come a long way since 2009.
yeah.
So it's definitely an area that definitely needs to be researched, studied, and the psychological community needs to get on board.
Yeah.
They think.
Yeah, it seems like it's often kind of slow them adding things to the DSM-5. That's what it's called, right? Like how often do they update it? Do you know?
DSM-5, I think it came out. Oh Lord, I'd be guessing like 10 years ago.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I might be way off, but I'm just throwing a number out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, because that's all just therapists use. Um, but yeah, it's been a little while since it's been updated.
Yeah, that would make sense then why it's obviously a slow process for them to add, like to update it. And so, yeah, hopefully in the next one it will be in there. And I imagine other things will also have changed in there in that time. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, if you definitely want to see some interesting things, look at an old DSM from like I remember when I was in college, my psychology teacher is like, hey, take a look at this. Like all these things that we deem as normal now, like back then, it was like, oh, this is a mental disorder. It's like, no, it's just it's anxiety.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of it's a little unfortunate that anxiety is just so common that you're just like, yeah, that's normal. What do you
All right, so I
personally?
just looked it up. 2013 is when it was updated.
Okay, so yeah,
So that's
about
close,
10
9 years.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah, close. Yeah, that would make sense then. What do you personally do to protect your mental health well-being around technology? You already said you don't watch the news, other things like that.
Well, I'm actually very lucky. Like with my, day-to-day job, I work with incarcerated individuals. So I work in the jails.
Mhm.
So they don't allow me to have my phone
Yeah.
on me. So my phone's in my car. So for at least 8 hours a day, my phone's in my car. So, I don't have to hear on a day-to-day basis because
Hmm.
I get that kind of time to myself. So, which I'm grateful for. I mean, it'd be convenient to have my phone with me, in the jails, but security,
Sure.
they don't have that.
Yeah.
So that definitely helps. That definitely helps.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes it so like you don't have to actually draw a boundary, which is it's nice. I know for myself, I mean, obviously when I'm at work, I'm not using it that much. Although like I would like to not be using it like when I'm on like my lunch break, like that kind of thing. But it's like just so like, hey, you know? Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely on breaks and stuff. Like, hey, my phone real quick. Like, the world has not changed in the 2 hours, 3 hours that I've
No,
not touched my phone.
no.
If my wife needs to get a hold of me, she'll see. Uh, but other than that, Monday through Friday, I try my best to kind of stay away from my phone.
Hmm. Yeah. Do you like use social media? Do Have you had any issues with like, communicating with other people on social media? You know how that is.
I'm not a social media person. I have accounts. Most of them are business related and that I probably should update, but I don't. Facebook, pretty much the only reason I use it is they have a marketplace,
Hmm.
so people sell stuff. But as far as social media, I'm not that big into at all.
Yeah. I know I know there's definitely a lot of people, I think especially women that are that spend a lot of time on social media. I I've definitely had like a love hate relationship with social media, but I definitely like avoid politics on social media and stuff like that. So that was part of my boundary build, putting boundaries up, you know, when it comes to social media.
Yeah, talk about unplugging. I mean, I think with we're kind of geared towards the youth, like we do great things, but we don't. We need to unplug. We need to get out into nature. We need to. We become very sedentary. Like me, I like to do yard work. That's my kind of my me time. I just got done on my yard just about an hour ago.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and my phone was away.
Yeah.
I was listening to music, I had my headphones on, so, but I was not listening to some political, you know, BS, pardon
Mm-hmm.
the French.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because yeah, I mean, if you're gonna get upset, turn on the news, turn on the talk radio. Yeah, the old saying, if it, what's old, is it, if it bleeds, it reads, or something like that.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. Like if it's negative, it'll sell, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not a big fan of that. I've got enough going on in my day-to-day life. I need to bring in other people's stuff.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I think that, I mean, everyone, there's plenty of stuff that actually affects us and like personally touches us that is negative and not good, not happy, that we don't really need to take on other people's pain and misery. So, yeah.
But don't we all love reality TV?
Yeah. or a
Oh my!
lot of people are into true crime, like it's like,
I love true crime.
yeah.
I'm a huge fan. But yeah, like with all reality TV, true crime, we're just piling on all the negative stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like sometimes we're kind of a glutton for punishment or something. Is that the saying, Yeah, I definitely try to like seek out positive stuff as much as possible when I do go onto the internet, you know.
Yeah, like with me, when I leave work, I'm usually not listening to radio. I usually turn on like a podcast or something. It's
Mhm.
usually comedic, funny stuff. I love to laugh. I love to go see comedy shows. I think I found my kind of sweet spot with the true crime. There's a podcast out there that has a lot of comedy in it, so you kind of laugh along. That's my kind of guilty pleasure to kind of get away with it.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I when I was listening to true crime podcasts the most, I was definitely listening to the ones that were funny also. Just it like makes it a little bit more like not as like hard to swallow sometimes, Although like obviously it's like it doesn't make it any less like awful. But
Yeah. Like I said, like my personal favorite and is the last podcast on the left.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're good.
That's yeah. Like I said, I enjoy listening to them, and yeah, you're gonna laugh, but it's dark,
Yeah,
dark subject matter, but they try to lighten it up. So
for
I
sure.
like listening to them.
Yeah. Is there any other media that you tend to gravitate towards?
Not really. Like I said, outside of like the like podcast and like I said, don't watch much news. I like movies. There's some pretty good shows out there. Me and my wife, we're big fans of like Better Call Saul and show show is it HBO or Showtime? Barry.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. I like Bill Hader. Yeah.
it's dark. He's an assassin,
Yeah.
but it's funny. Um, but yeah. I mean, yeah, watch a lot of movies and stuff. I catch myself all the time watching old Saturday Night Live from the '90s. When I was growing up, and
Hmm.
just kind of kind of transporting back in time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, simpler times, but as we get older, we look back and go, "Hey, those were the good old days." But then I found myself, I got a Peacock subscription, so I can see all the old Saturday Night Lives from the 90s and 80s and stuff. That's
Nice.
when I was coming up and enjoying it.
Yeah, a lot of people definitely love nostalgia, like watching things that are nostalgic for them, for sure. It makes them feel good. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
What do you like? You talked about like working in the yard. What else do you like to do outside, the outdoors, the great outdoors?
Well, I'd say like I like to swim, have a swimming pool. A lot of maintenance and pain in the butt at times, but I enjoy going out and swimming. Got a little dog. I like taking her out for walks and stuff. But pretty much, I'm pretty kind of a homebody type person. Like, I got everything I need here. I got my wife, got my dog, got a pool. Got a yard. I got enough to keep me busy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like growing up, like my dad owned a roofing company. And done construction the majority of my life. So I like doing things with my hands, projects. Right now, as we speak, I'm working on changing the oil in my lawnmower.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely a kind of a handyman, so to speak.
Good. Yeah, it's nice to see the outcome of doing something, and that's the thing with like working with your hands. Like there's an end usually to what you're working on, and it's fulfilling at the end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it sounds weird, but I'm just gonna throw it out there. Like to me, have you ever pressure washed anything? Like the pressure washer?
I have not, but it looks very satisfying.
Oh my goodness. There's apps out there where you can like pressure wash stuff,
Yeah.
anxiety. I told you, like I could probably, like come up with some kind of pressure wash therapy or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
It's just it's very zen. It's very like you get to see the end result like instantly, just kind of back and forth. I love it.
Yeah.
I try to go out of my way to pressure wash stuff. I'm like, okay, or I'll go to different places. I'm going, that needs to be pressure washed. Like, man, that would look so much better if you just did this,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I like to ask people how do you define fun?
Fun is just, to me, it's just, being happy in the moment. Can't be fun all the time, but trying to find those little, wins, those little bit of excitement, a little bit of, hey, this feels good, it's fun. But unfortunately, we got a whole a mess of people out there that just think that we have to kind of really keep that in check. But those little small moments where we're having a good time, really, really grab a hold of that. Hey,
Yeah.
This is fun. I like this.
Definitely. I also like to ask people what their play personality is. This is based on the Institute of Play in the United States, from Dr. Stuart Brown. So there's 8 play personalities. There is the Joker, the Explorer, the Artist, the Storyteller, the Collector, the Kinesthetic, the Competitor, and the Director, who's like the person that likes to like plan things, that kind of thing. What would you say you are? I mean, you can be more than one.
I would say I'm probably more of the artist creator type,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm always searching to make things better.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, every job that I've ever had, trying to figure out, okay, how can we do this better? Probably the term I dislike the most in the world is, well, this is how we've always done it.
Sure. Yeah.
I cannot stand that. I'm like, no, maybe, but there's possibly a better way.
Mm-hmm.
So let me try to figure this out.
Yeah.
Sometimes they allow you to do that, sometimes they don't. So it gets kind of frustrating at times. So
Yeah.
you, to me, I'm constantly seeking out the new goals, new education. Um, I'm just I'm just a nut, and if I live to be 200 years old, I'll still be seeking out education and stuff
Yeah.
because I just think that there's just so much stuff out there that we can better ourselves with, and education is key.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody sits back and say, "Hey, I got it. I know it all." No, you don't.
No.
No, you
No.
don't.
You'll never know it all. And
No.
when you start saying that is like, well, what's the point at that? It's like part of you being on earth is to just keep learning and growing and yeah. Yeah, I don't like people that claim to be a know-it-all, like, and you're like, nope, you don't know everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm big on quotes. Aristotle said, 2,500 years ago, he said that a man only has meaning if he's reaching out and striving for his goals.
Mm-hmm.
So he needs that carrot kind of dangled out in
Mm-hmm.
front of him to keep him moving forward.
Nice.
And I'm like I said, if if I were to have a go back to school, like I said, philosophy, huge fan of, uh, but psychology was my route, which is kind of closely related.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, but philosophies that's been around for thousands of years, all these things that we've been taught, being told, we know it. It's
Mm.
just with our clients, we're like, hey, you know, we talk about the golden rule and all these little nursery rhyme things that we're told. Come to find out, they're true.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so sticks and stones may break my bones. Words will never hurt me. So don't take stuff personal. So we definitely try to kind of do our best to kind of get them to think in those terms. Like, hey, you
Mm-hmm.
already know this stuff. Hey, we're here to help you along. You got this. It's within you. Just
Mm-hmm.
you got to make that commitment.
Yeah. Well, yeah, empowering people and giving people, being like helping them build their confidence, really, helps people because we can't do anything for someone else, but like we can hopefully help them get to a point where they are able to do what they need to do for themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the whole motivational interviewing practice. Like, we're all motivated,
Mm-hmm.
even if you don't do anything. If you lay in bed all day, you're motivated to lay in bed all day,
Mm-hmm.
and really trying to figure out what motivates these people. Like, how can we get them on board? So yeah, so we take a lot from. We've been doing this. We've done alcohol and drug management, victim impact. You name it, we've probably taught it. But majority of it comes back to that motivation, trying to figure out what motivates them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Just a couple more questions and then yeah, I'll let you let you get on with your day. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5 years. Fortunately, not long enough to retire, but I think kind of what we've seen over the past couple of years with our business is that we're probably eventually going to transition it over into a nonprofit
Mm-hmm.
because unfortunately the people that most need these services don't have the ability to pay.
Sure.
So if we can, convert it over to a nonprofit, maybe get some funding, go actually into different communities, whether it be in the incarcerated community. There's a lot of counties out there that don't offer any programs. Personally, I would get the ability to work with juveniles to kind of teach them some stuff, before they make it to see me in jail. Because I know how many hundreds and hundreds of people have told me, like, hey, I wish I would have known this at a younger age.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I would have had this information. And I think we're doing our young people a disservice by not teaching them these things,
Mm-hmm.
how to manage their emotions, how to avoid, domestic violence charges. Like what is, I just spent an entire week with the Victim Advocacy Academy in Chattanooga. It's all this information that we're not teaching the younger people. So try to not get caught up into the system as it is. So
Yeah.
I can definitely see myself, going in that direction.
Yeah, that's a very important work to do. It's true. As a society, we're doing a great disservice to young people in how we're, treating, giving them coping skills and things like that.
Definitely.
I think, it definitely has also contributed to the drug problems that we're having. And yeah, there's a lot going on that has to do with mental health, and it's really underserved. When's the last time that you laughed so hard that your stomach hurt?
I think I was actually watching a Saturday Night Live from, I don't know, it was probably like late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
But it was for some reason I at the right moment, and I just laughed. Even went and got my wife, was like, hey, you got to watch this.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just silly, just kind of, but I think it's important to, laugh. It's
Yeah.
important to, seek out those silly things because, there's enough seriousness going on in the world. Seek out those funny things.
Yeah.
Watch a got to watch, the new crime drama or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Watch a silly stand up.
Yeah.
Go to a local, comedy place. So, where did you say you're located?
I'm near Seattle.
Seattle. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
One of my most favorite comedians, he actually moved to Oregon last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
So if you ever get a chance to see him, he kind of roams around. He travels all over. But his name's Kyle Kinane.
Okay.
I think he lives in Beaverton.
Oh, okay. That's near Portland. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a couple podcasts out there. I highly recommend. He's a funny guy. I saw him a couple times here in Nashville. Met him. He's pretty cool dude.
Nice.
But
Yeah.
he's up in that area. But he's, like I said, just go out there and laugh, have a good time.
All right. Where can people find you?
I'm pretty accessible. We got a website. It's called freedom-anger.com. freedomanger.com. Just 2 words, freedomanger.com. From there, you can, it's got my phone, cell, email. There's a contact box in there. You can, put in whatever. And it's got our information on there. But that's what I tell people, just go to the website. It's got everything on there.
Yeah, it's easy when it's all in one place. Well, thank you for well, thank you for being on the podcast. It was nice to chat with you.
Well, hopefully my southern accent didn't turn too many people off. There are educated people in the South. Just FYI.
Oh yeah, I know. There's a lot of stereotypes for sure. Yeah. Well, have a good rest of your evening, and yeah.
All right, you too.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well,
bye.
Bye.
All right, I wanted to talk about some takeaways. This is also currently with Invisalign. I'm sorry if it's a problem. Anyway, some of the main takeaways from this conversation with James. Basically, he talks about we all need to disconnect sometimes. He talks about his love of yard work, walks, swimming, and power washing, which I agree is very satisfying to watch. Totally get it. We all need time outside and away from technology. And I talk more about this, the need to get out into nature, in my episode 6. Nature is loved by what is best in us. So if you need more inspiration of why you need to go out into nature, that exists. Also, he talks about how technology addiction is not in the DSM-5, but that there's a lot of research suggesting that technology is indeed addictive. So it's important to take breaks and to be intentional, and of course, if you cannot get it under control, to seek outside help if that is needed. He talks very specifically about not watching the news. The news makes you focus heavily on everything wrong with the world. It definitely feeds into the existential dread that we're all feeling. It feeds into your feelings of how everything and everyone is bad and that it just keeps getting worse. And a lot of this doesn't affect you, and you can't do anything about it. And so you're just taking on the burden for no benefit. It just feeds into our feelings of outrage and powerlessness. And I personally haven't watched the news in years. It doesn't mean I'm completely uninformed, but I'm not willing to subject myself to the money-making machine that is the news cycle. Now, obviously, it's great if you want to do something with the knowledge that you potentially can get from consuming news, but most people don't really do anything. And I think that it's because of the oversaturation that is actually can be really paralyzing for many people. So I don't think that the news is actually a conducive tool for making the world a better place. And so I definitely advocate for people to stop watching the news. So it's my 2 cents to add to this. His 2 cents is also that you should stop watching the news. We also then talk about how, you can find media that is enjoyable, but you just have to be purposeful. What are things that are going to bring you joy and ease and not sorrow and agitation? So anyway, and then we also talk a little bit about true crime, and I feel mixed feelings about true crime, and I've been thinking about doing a future episode about true crime and, the benefits of how it can help some people, but also it can harm some people. Like I was a person that listened to a lot of true crime for years, and then I I was just like, I have to stop because it wasn't actually helping my mental health. So, I don't know. If you would like that to be a future episode, let me know. Anyway, I ranted a little bit at the end of this. I think that's it for today. I hope that you are all doing well, that you've had some fun. It's a beautiful summer. I love you. And have some fun. All right. Love you.